All right, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Hey guys, it's Rachel.
And Nina.
And today we're here with the lovely Georgina Gothard.
Gothard. Yeah. You got it.
How are you?
I'm good, man. It has been a Friday. I just got back from Spirit Cart. I signed up to be like a volunteer. So I did that, and then I have an appointment after this, and then I have you guys, and then an appointment after this, and then I have a football game that my sister invited me to take the boys. And it's like our first football game ever, so we're going to attempt to take them and see how that goes.
Fun.
And it's just like, man, today is like booked and busy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How old are the boys? I've been good. So Jonah is 5, and then Isaiah is 3, but he turns 4 in December. Ooh. So he's basically almost a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So
coming up quick.
I know. December 2nd.
Oh, that's me and Zach's anniversary. How funny.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. It's a good day. He's a Sagittarius.
Oh, nice.
I believe he's a Sagittarius, and I mean, man, that boy, he is definitely a Sagittarius.
Oh yeah.
He is he's my wild child. Yes.
Oh,
and is he so he's the youngest, yeah?
He's the baby. Yeah, he's the baby. So
that's how mine is too. My baby's the wildest. He's the wild one.
Oh my God. And I was like, I remember when I, was checking like when he was going to be born and stuff. I was like, okay, he might land in the Sagittarius, and I'm a Capricorn, so I was like, let's see how well we mesh. Well, we're gonna bump heads.
Oh no!
And since as soon as his little personality started coming out, I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna be the one that does it for me, my friend.
Yeah. Oh. You met your match.
I met my match. Yes, he is stubborn and hard-headed. He's so sweet. We call him like a Sour Patch Kid because but the opposite, because he's really like rough at first. And then he's like, okay, I'm better. I'm sweet now. It's like, man.
My sister calls her youngest a Sour Patch too. Same reason. Like all rough and mean, and then like he'll be like, oh, I'm so cute.
Yeah. Only when he wants it. Yeah. Even his voice, like if he's mad, he'll be like, no. And then when he's happy, he's like, hi, like all high pitched. I'm like, fool, that is so fake. Like, get out of my face. Right yeah. Oh heck yeah. Even with the fake tears, I'm like, there's literally no water in your eyes. Like all of that is not real. Like,
that's
come on.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, so he's gonna be the one that gives me a run for my money.
Oh wow. So you volunteering at the school, do you do that a lot? Every opportunity that you get?
I try to. Last year I think I let my anxiety, of things kind of get in the way. So I wasn't as like present in terms of like me volunteering. But this year I told myself that I really wanted to be more involved and just kind of, be in the school. And so, yeah, I've started volunteering a little bit more. I did 2 spirit carts already. I signed up for the trunk or treat, which is next week. And then there's something else that I've done. I don't even remember, but I've done a few things. So I'm just, trying to be more involved and just kind of
you were saying
integrate with the school
with your anxiety and stuff like that. So how have you been able to like overcome that to go and be able to be there and be present for your kids?
Therapy. I started therapy about probably about a year ago, but I actually just graduated from therapy probably last month. And so I'm not in it anymore. But I mean, the person that I was before I started, so much different. She helped me get through so much. It's crazy. Like I am a whole completely different person, and just my own individual growth and stuff like that. Reading books and like just setting up boundaries and all. Oh, look at the little baby. Hi.
Crashing.
Hi. But yeah, therapy has definitely helped out a lot.
That's awesome.
Hey.
That's awesome.
He's like, who is that, Mom?
Right? I know. That's so. Hey, we're trying to talk. That's so good that you're able to go through that and, you know,
Yeah.
grow from it to be able to like help your kids present, be more present.
Yeah.
You're involved with your kids no matter what. But
yeah. And a lot of it, I think it was postpartum anxiety. What was like the main cause? I mean, I've always had anxiety. I mean, you know, it's just, I think everybody kind of deals with it here and there throughout their life. But I noticed after Jonah, I was feeling a little bit more anxious about things, but I just thought it was like being a new mom. I'm like, oh, you know, going to the mall or something, like, oh, they're going to try to steal my baby. You know, just these little thoughts kind of start trickling in. And I just thought that was normal. And I honestly didn't even know about postpartum anxiety. I knew about postpartum depression, but I didn't really know that anxiety was like a big thing. And so then after I had Isaiah, that's when I really ramped up. And still at that point, I didn't even realize that that's what it was until it just like I couldn't even like leave the house. It was so bad. And like going on walks, if I wanted to go on like in a morning walk with the boys, I couldn't even do that if I was by myself because I was just stressed the whole time. I couldn't enjoy or be in the moment or like going to parks. Even if I was going to parks with other family members, I was just like, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Like it was a lot. And so then I think I had one sister, she noticed, she was like, man, Georgina, are you okay? Like, here, take these little gummies. They're like just relaxing gummies, like nothing intense or anything like that. And it was like, okay, yeah, you know, kind of like helped a little bit. But then I think maybe my mother-in-law also might have mentioned something. And then that's when I was like, okay, maybe this isn't normal. And then as it just kept getting worse and worse, I was like, yeah, I think I need help. Like, I think something's going on. I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. And that's when I started probably about a year ago, started going to therapy for that and a bunch of other things, you know, but that has really subsided a lot. I've been watching what I've been eating and stuff. I started working out. So I'm down like about 60 pounds. And so I think with all that and then just the mental health, you know, therapy and just doing a lot more of self-care and like finally taking care of myself, I've just finally like, relief. I finally have some relief.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're able to find that because, yeah, I know like
it's hard.
Yeah, I have anxiety and depression also. And then especially after having a baby, you know, your hormones are crazy and out of whack.
All out of whack, yeah.
And if you can't even leave the house because of it, like that's
yeah.
Can't live like that.
No,
yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, it was basically like I would like just open up all the windows and I would just like basically be in the middle of the living room, and from like the middle of my living room you can kind of see all angles, and I would just stand there and like, you know, watch the babies and then just watch the windows, making sure somebody's not trying to like break in. So it was like it wasn't it was really bad. I just felt like it was a lot. I just felt like I could not relax at any point. And then nighttime, you know, would come around and it's like any little noise I heard, I'd be out the windows looking like somebody's at the house, somebody's trying to break in. And I'm home alone a lot. So like with Justin's schedule, he does 1 month home, 1 month away. So a lot of the times I'm single parenting basically. So even back then when I was alone, it was just me 24/7. And I think it got worse.
You were just carrying a lot of weight with all that.
Yeah.
Especially being away and dealing with all that. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the brand new baby, but also your older son was still pretty small at that time as well.
Oh yeah. And then this is all like during COVID times, and then just kind of after COVID times, and then even like that year, 2021 was like a really hard year for me. A lot of stuff happened between like my family. We like the kids got COVID, we got COVID, the baby got COVID. He was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 months. And then after that, I think my mom got COVID, and my sister ended up in the hospital because of it. And they were thinking about intubating her, but luckily her lungs were able to catch up. So that was a whole thing. And then my mom got sick for it, and we had to put her on oxygen. So that was stressful. And then I think what happened after that, my sister got in a car accident where she rolled over and like she was T-boned, and she was out in like kind of like Louisiana. And for about 2 hours, we didn't know if she was like alive or dead. So it was just that whole year was like thing after thing after thing. Yeah. And the anxiety just, I mean, it had it was like the perfect breeding grounds for it to go full on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Sounds like
mode.
it.
So what
Yeah.
was so what was
What?
the point where you were just like, this is it, I have to go and get help, I can't take anymore? Like, what was it? Was there something that just triggered you, or because there were so many things that were happening, was there just one specific thing that you were just like, I have to get help?
I was also going through a bunch of other like personal things that the anxiety was just kind of adding to it. So that's kind of like the stuff that was going on like in my personal life was like really intense, and that with the anxiety, it I was just like, man, this is no way to live. Like I think I remember I was just sitting down, and I don't know if I just like broke down or something just like clicked in me, and it was like, Georgina, you need help. Like you cannot do this on your own. And I was the type of person that was like, I believe in therapy, but I'm not going to go to therapy because like they're going to tell me stuff that I already know. Like, what do I need
Right.
therapy for? I already know I'm pretty self-aware with a lot of things. And so I was like a big, like, nah, I don't need it. I'm not going to do it. I'm fine. And it just, yeah, one day I was just like, I am not okay. Like, this has to change. Like, my babies are seeing me. They're seeing me break down and crying. And like, I think probably honestly, it was maybe Jonah at one point said, Mommy, why are you crying? And it was just like, and
Yeah.
like that, it
Yeah.
was like just like a little series of events. And I was like, I can't do this on my own anymore. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have to get help. Even if I don't want to do therapy, I have to just try it out, at least see what happens. And I found this one therapist, and man, like I said, she like saved my life. It was crazy.
That's
That girl,
awesome.
I owe her so much.
Aw.
Yeah, even like when we were finishing, she was like, "This is like a breakup," and I was like, "Oh, I know," because I'm crying like it's a breakup. I was doing that ugly cry. I was like reading my note. Thank you for. I was like, "This is so embarrassing." Like I could not get my words out when we were like having our final session.
Oh my
Aw.
gosh. How special to find someone like that you can
Yeah,
share with,
yeah,
and get that coping and all of that,
yeah.
knowledge from her, and then still kind of have
Hmm.
a friend out of it too. That's really something
Yeah, yeah.
special.
She was really good at she validated a lot of the things. And it's like when I felt like I was going crazy or like something didn't make sense, she was like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're okay to feel those feelings. Like it is okay. Now, what can we do to move away? Like what it would be the solution? Like she would validate what I was saying and what I was feeling, but she wouldn't let me just stay there. She's like, we
Right.
don't,
She's
because
like,
that's
how
the
can we
problem
fix
with it.
it?
How can we move on? Because that's the thing
Hmm.
with anxiety. You kind of get stuck there and you ruminate and you just like, it's a cycle, right? You kind of stay in your head. And so she would be like, it's okay that you're here. It's understandable why you're here. Now let's move away from here. And
Yes.
let's process it. Let's dig through it and let's move away.
I
And I
love
think
that.
that's what I needed. I needed that outside person to be like, it's okay. You're okay. I understand why this is happening. Now let's process it. Let's say hi, welcome it. Okay, bye. Get out. Like
Yes. Hmm.
you don't need to stay here forever.
Right.
And so it was man, it was a really cool experience. Now I'm like a big advocate for like therapy. I'm like telling everyone,
I love
go to
that.
therapy.
I
Yeah.
love that. I do.
Yeah.
Too.
Especially because, for a long time, I didn't think I needed, or I guess I just couldn't get myself out of it to where like I couldn't recognize certain things. And then
Hmm.
when she was able to get me out of it, I was like, oh, wow, you literally just connected the dots and they were right in my face. But I couldn't connect the dots myself. I needed that extra help.
Yeah, just that extra little boost to help you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understand
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this.
Do you
Yeah. It
think
was really
that
cool.
do you think that your hesitation to want to go to therapy has anything to do with like our culture and how our culture processes things like that?
Oh yeah, I was definitely, because I'm Mexican American, right? My parents are both from Mexico, and mental health really isn't a big factor. At least me growing up, kind of seeing that mental health really wasn't like, but we never really had those kind of conversations. I have three older sisters, but they were all teenagers by the time, like I'm the baby of the family, right? So like when I was born, my oldest sister was like 10. By the time that I was 5, she was a teenager. They didn't want nothing to do with me. I was like the kid baby sister. So I kind of grew up almost like an only child. I was really like attached to my mom. And so then when I entered like teenagehood and stuff like that, my sisters were off married, having kids. And so I didn't really have like those kind of conversations. And I really just relied on my friends. But even then, it's hard to kind of open up to just, to friends because the peer pressure, like, oh, are they going to judge me and all that. So I've always been like a very reserved person. Like honestly, even me talking right now with y'all would not have happened if it wouldn't be for therapy. Because one of the things that we worked on was uh, me showing vulnerability, because I used to never really allow myself to be vulnerable with anyone. And so like
Mhm.
I had like a really hard wall or exterior. And so therapy even has helped me with that. So, growing up, that again, that wasn't like a thing. And I've always been the more like in my family, the one that's been more, I guess, sensitive or like in tune with emotions. Like my older sister, she like would rarely say I love you. Like it's always like the joke that I tell her, like, if I don't say I love you to you first or anything like that, like she won't say it to me. And so, or like the only time she'll say it is like, okay, well, if something happens to me, sis, just know that you didn't say I love you back. And then like I'll get a text message like an hour later, I
He's
love you.
fine. I love you.
I'm like, damn, sis, why is it so hard for you to tell me you love me? So like I've always been like the affectionate one. And I think it's because I was born and raised here, in Houston. And so I was more not on like the Mexican side of the culture, like heavy in it. Like my other sisters, they were more like when they speak Spanish, they sound fluent, right? I still like sound like I struggle. Even sometimes like now I'm like, damn, I don't know how to say that word.
You're more
And I'm like,
Chicana.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I always been in tune with like at least like I knew about mental health and I knew about like feelings and emotions and like all that stuff. It would be hard for me to open up to someone, but people would always open up to me and I loved it and I loved to give advice and just help people, but it was hard for me to open up, I think, because of that way of growing up. It's kind of like what happens in the house stays in the house and you
Right.
don't talk to no one, you don't tell anyone your business.
Right.
It's private stuff. And now
Especially if you're feeling crazy. You know what I mean?
especially
Right.
like
And they're like, don't be
like
saying
it's
that.
don't be telling people that shit ain't right up there because God forbid if anybody knows that it's not like the perfect picture type of image, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's probably why I fought therapy for so long or thought that I could do it on my own for so long, because that's just kind of like what I was like just like raised, like grown up, like I grew up in that kind of environment. Like what happens in the household stays in the household. And so with therapy, I now realize you're not meant to do this on your own. You're supposed to have a community behind you where they see the good and the bad, and they're supposed to be there to support you and love you through that. And even if they can't find a solution for you or whatever, they're just there. I'm here to take up space in this hard time that you're in, and just know that you're not alone. And, so now I try to kind of tell the kids all the time, my nieces and nephews, because a lot of them are in their teenage years. And I'm always telling them, like, it's okay to have feelings. Boys can cry because, the big thing is boys don't cry. Boys don't cry, toughen up. And I've always told, like, when my sister says that to my nephews, I'm like, boys do cry. It's okay. Like,
Oh, God.
because, it teaches, boys that eventually become men that they're not supposed to be in tune with their emotions, and everybody's supposed to be
Yeah.
in tune with their emotions. You're not supposed to hold that in, because then that's where everything else kind of just starts spiraling. You're
Yeah.
supposed to you're supposed to release all that tension and stress and
I
not
love
just
that you
carry it
said
all
that
on your
because,
shoulders.
society has built these images for not just women, and how we're supposed to be, but also for men. and it
Mhm.
goes overlooked a lot,
Yeah.
for little boys, as they're growing up and they're dealing with emotions. And Kai's getting picked on right now by a girl, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
society would look at that and be like, oh, he's getting picked on by a girl. They'd probably laugh at that, but that's unfair. He's
No,
a
yeah.
person too. He has emotions, and he should his emotions should be valued just as much as
Are
a girl,
just his
you
emotions are
know?
just as valid as anybody else's.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
And
I definitely.
so I just think that
I
it's
was.
great. I'm sorry. This is what we do.
It's okay. Sorry, Jeremy's being crazy over here. I'm just
It's
you.
all good, girl.
No, but
It's
I think
literally what the podcast is about, right? It's
It
about
is.
being
It
moms.
is. It
And
is.
it's real life. There is no filter. It's the cutesy stuff, and it's the hard stuff and the ugly
Yeah.
stuff. And sometimes if the kid wants to just be in your face,
That's
it's like, man, if you
yeah.
want to have a conversation with me, there's gonna be a little face
That's
right
right.
here.
That's right.
right next to you. In the mirror, yeah. No, but I think that's awesome that you do that about the boys and like trying to validate that they're allowed to cry too, because I think
Oh
that
yeah.
like I know with my husband Zach, he grew up being told, he has to be tough, he can't cry. And so now like that's one thing that we've been working on together is processing emotions and like, in healthy ways. And that's what he'll say. Sometimes it's hard for me because I was never allowed to do that
Yeah.
as a kid.
They have to relearn everything basically.
Yeah, and it's I can see the struggle in him when he gets like that, and he feels like hard on himself because he always
Yeah.
grew up being told like you can't do that. And so I'm like, no, you're allowed to.
Yeah.
We have to show this to our son. Like he needs
Yeah.
to know that he can feel these things as well, and grow up being able to process emotions. Otherwise, like you said, Georgina, you're just gonna hold it in, and it's gonna cause further problems.
And it just spills into every other aspects of your life. It's a cycle. And like with the boys, with Jonah, I struggled a lot with Jonah when he was probably like around 2. I knew he had a speech delay, and or at least I was recognizing the signs for it. And I remember like telling my family about it, and they were like, "No, it's fine. He'll eventually talk. He'll eventually talk." And I was telling them that I wanted to get him evaluated. And I did receive a little bit of pushback in the beginning because again, I think it's that culture that's like, you don't need to have these outside sources kind of like coming in, right? No, like because technically speech delay is a SPED, like it's a diagnosis, right? There's under the SPED umbrella. And so I think maybe that is what worried a few of my family members. Like, what if he's different? And so then once I got him evaluated and he did get tested, or he did come back as speech delay and then cognitive delay, uh, we started therapies right away, and still like feeling unsure if I was doing the right thing because of that pushback that I was getting. But then I would just reassure myself with, you know what? This isn't hurting him. If anything, all it's doing is just helping him.
Right.
And if I'm starting early intervention, then it can only go up from here, right?
Right.
And so then once he turned around 2.5, it was really hard because it got so bad to the point where like even restaurants, like we could not step foot inside of a restaurant because he would just lose it. Like it was like too much noise for him and all this stuff. And so I was fighting a lot with like, oh my God, what if there is something else going on, or what if he's like on the spectrum or something? And, I was just feeling scared and like just the unknown of things, because I'm like, if they put this label on him, kids are mean.
Yeah.
And if they know that he's in the SPED class, they're probably going to pick on him or something like that. And like all these things, that I saw growing up, I'm like, oh my God, is my baby going to be okay? Or if he is, special needs, like I have to now change my entire life to make sure that I can do what I need to do to help him. And every year he's been in getting therapies, and then eventually he got into his like local school under this program. And all those little things that I thought maybe there's something else kind of just went away, and it's really just been the speech delay. But something that I always like really wanted to focus on when he was doing the speech with the speech therapies was because I would notice a lot of frustration coming out of him, which is why I think all the tantrums and like the really big blowouts, I think they were happening because he just could not say what he wanted to say.
He was
Like
frustrated.
he was frustrated, and I could see him, and I'd be like, Jonah, I'm so sorry, I can't understand you, my love. Like, what is it? What's going on? Like, try to show me. And he would just, I could like see his little fist ball up,
Like
and
it was just
like
right
his
there.
body
He just
tense
couldn't.
up. It was
Yes.
right there, and he couldn't do it. And oh man, those were some really hard times. And so we started with sign language, and then quickly, as soon as he started getting some verbal words in, I was like, I need to work on emotions. And since then, I've really been big on feelings and emotions and what's coming up for you. And now, man, when he's upset, he's like, Mom, I need a moment. And I'm like, okay. And he'll like go to his room and he'll process it. And then he comes out. He's like, okay, Mom, I'm ready to talk. Sit down. I'm like, okay. And so we'll
How
sit. And he was like,
awesome.
yeah, and he'll sit me down and he's like, I didn't like it when you did this. It made me feel like this. And I was like, Jonah, I am so sorry that you got upset. I didn't want you to get upset, but mommy did this because you need to be safe. Mommy needs to make sure that you're always going to be safe. Or, if he's like being mean to Isaiah, it's like, Jonah, uh I think we could have made better choices when we were playing with baby. We're not supposed to put our hands on people. We are supposed to be have gentle hands with everyone on your own self or on everyone else. And so now it's so crazy how he's so big on emotions. I think it was like maybe about a month ago. I don't know I was watching something, like TikTok or whatever. Anytime I get on TikTok, I cry because it's like all those emotional videos.
Yeah.
And so I think I was crying or something. And he was like, Mama, are you sad? I'm like, yeah, Jonah, but I'm okay. I'm okay. He was like, come here, sit down. And he goes and gets a book. And then he brings me the book. And he's like, I'm going to read you this book. And then every few pages, he's like, okay, now breathe in and breathe out. And I'm like, okay, breathe in, breathe out. And he's like, okay, all right, feel better? Yes, I feel better. Okay. And then he'll keep reading another 2-3 pages. He's like, all right, let's breathe in and breathe out. And he did
Oh
the
my
whole book.
gosh.
And when I tell you, like, oh, my little mom heart was so happy because it's like, that's what I worked so hard was for him to be able to express himself. So that way we could control those big outbursts and those
Mhm.
big feelings. And now that he's so in tune with his emotions, again, he's only 5. It's like, man, kid, like you're way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
he's got the
crazy.
whole coping mechanism down too. Like he's
Yeah.
got a
Mm-hmm.
a way and a technique to
Yeah.
bring himself down, and he shared it with you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna show you
Yeah.
what works for me. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
That,
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
awesome and like shows emotional like um m- he's emotionally like maturing so
Yeah.
fast
Yes.
is like
Yeah.
the recognize how you were upset and was there to support you through
Yeah.
it. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
And I try not to shy away from like hiding my emotions in front of him because besides like the like let's say if me and their dad is like having like an argument or something, like those are usually always done in private, but sometimes I feel like it's okay for them to see us having a disagreement because I want them to see us resolve it, right?
Right.
So it's like, yes, people can get upset, people can get angry, but this is also how you solve it. And you there's a word that I like to use. It's not compromise, it's collaborate. Because
Uh,
when you compromise, sometimes both parties can feel like they're losing out.
Mhm.
Versus a collaboration, you're working together towards something that you both
I
feel
love
good about.
that. I love
Hmm.
that.
awesome. That
And so I got that. I don't know where I think I heard it on a video or like a podcast or just, I don't know. I remember I read it somewhere or heard it somewhere and I was like, man, I really like that because, yeah, when you feel like you have to compromise, it does feel like, ugh, like you don't
like
really feel like content or satisfied with, you feels like you're having to lose out or
Yeah, it
like
feels like you're
give
giving
up
up.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then once I started changing the verbiage to let's no longer compromise, let's collaborate. Let's work together to figure out this issue. And so I want the kids to see problem solving even with other people with emotions, when emotions are high or anything like that. Or like if I'm sad, I don't want to just hide my face and not ever let him see me that I'm sad, because then he's going to think, okay, if I'm sad, I have to hide. And I
Right.
don't ever want Jonah to feel like he can't be his full self in front of me. If he's struggling or having a hard time, I want to know. I want to be there to support him. And so if I'm crying or going through something, I let him, you know, all within reason, right? Everything's always within reason, but I'll let him see. And then he'll say, Mommy, are you okay? I'm like, I just don't feel good. I think my tummy hurts or something. And then he'll come and rub my tummy. And like, he's like, do you want me to get you a water? And I'm like, yeah, Jonah, I'll take a water. And he'll go get like my cup or whatever, and he'll bring it to me. And so it's like, that's what I really want to just show them, that sometimes we just have these big feelings and let's process them. And I've always been able to do that for them, but I wasn't able to do it for myself. And so just, I think me realizing all that, like what I was going through, and then understanding like, if I can do this for them, I should be able to do this for myself. I have to, just like I advocate for them, I have to be able to advocate for myself. And so that's kind of, what trickled all that down. And so now it's just really cool to see me in a much better headspace, and then seeing Jonah. Isaiah's still got a long way to go, because he is, like I said,
He's a wild child.
he's my wild child. So I know I'm gonna I put in double work with him, but now just at least seeing like the fruits of my labor with Jonah, because he's at the age where we can communicate a lot more now. He's like expressing himself more. It's just really, really cool to see. It's like all coming full circle, like at the right time.
I love
That's
that.
really neat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing an amazing job of breaking the cycle, and raising men who are able to process their emotions instead of lashing out and being angry. And that's amazing.
Also,
you're going to be like, I lost what I was trying to say. Never mind.
Also breaking like generational curses, and letting your kids be the beginning of that change, in your family, so that your family can grow and they can see like, hey, look at what a different person Georgina is, and how therapy helped her, and how her kids don't even have to go through therapy because of the way that she is now. It's just like flowing down into them naturally, and they're getting the help that they need from their mother. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very positive thing. And I know that in our culture, there is a stigma that's attached to therapy, and it's very sad because a lot of people don't make it because of that, And so I just think that that's so awesome that you recognize that you needed the help, and then you got it, like sometimes we recognize that we need help, but we don't always go follow through with it and get it. So I think that's so awesome that you actually went through all the motions, and now you're seeing, like you said, the fruits of your labor in your child, and then he's gonna slowly start showing the little one, and the little one's gonna start saying, this is what we do now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just going to become a natural way for them and how they are. You know what I mean? Then just think how they're going to be like grown men voicing how they feel, and like, you know what I mean? Like, think about the men that we've dealt with in our lifetime that have not been able to recognize how they feel. You know what I mean? And you're going to change that, and they're going to be like, okay, so what you did earlier, didn't like that. We need to work on that,
We need to, yes.
And that's awesome, because I think that that's, both our generation and, even now, sometimes Perry can't tell me what he wants or what the problem is. And I'm like, use your words. You know what I mean? It's hard. And I think I think that a part of it goes back to what society has pushed them to be. And I think that when they say those things, it sends them into a state of vulnerability, and they feel like, I sound weak right now. I sound weak. Ask for something. I sound weak. And, and that's not, as a partner, you're like, no, come to me. Let's share. Let's collaborate and figure this out. Yeah. So I
you
just
want them to be vulnerable with you,
yes, you do.
That's how you build
Exactly.
connections. That's how you improve the the relationship. Like, so I'll give you all a little. I won't go too much into it because it's still something that we're dealing with. But Justin and I, we're also doing couples therapy because we were struggling for a while, and we're now in a stage where it's going on a positive direction, and like them sitting with those feelings, it's hard because they've been told to suppress, or just what the peer pressures or society, right? It's like, no, you run from the emotions, you run from the feelings, like you don't cry or anything like that. And it just sets everything up for failure, because how can you build connections, how can you build a foundation of with anything if you're taking out the emotional part of it? Like,
Right.
like it won't work. It just does not
Right.
work. And it's
Well,
like, how can you connect with someone like that?
yeah, it's like you said, you want them to be vulnerable with you because it also builds that intimacy, like not sexually, but
Oh
the
no,
intimacy
it's
part.
emotional
Yeah,
intimacy, like all of it, mental, and like it's not just sexual is it's its own thing, but
yeah,
there's
yeah,
so much that comes from intimacy that's not sexual.
exactly. Yeah,
Like it's a whole, it's bigger than just
Mhm.
sexual,
Exactly.
honestly.
Yeah, and then you
Hmm.
become a safe space, and then that's how, yeah, you build that
Yeah.
strong bond together.
Hmm. Yeah, and and that's what you want out of your partner too. You want, like, if you're saying, I want to do life with you, it's all of it. It's the good, the bad, the ugly, the I'm struggling, that I'm having the best time ever. Like, it's all of it, and you want them to be able to do the same for you. And if you're met with resistance, or if they don't want to meet you halfway or collaborate, it makes life really hard.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it does. It's
Hmm.
like y'all are on the right path, man. Y'all are that's awesome.
It is.
Yeah,
I'm so
we've
It
come
really
we've
is.
come a long way. Even Justin, like I said, we were struggling probably for like about a year and a half, and um it, again, like getting therapy, individual and couples, I'm really starting to see a change, and like there's a change in both of us. And it's, we still have a long way to go. It's lifelong, right? Like, the goal is to always improve and to grow and to like educate yourself, and like just to keep learning on just how to be the best version of yourself. But I feel confident now that we're getting there. We're on
yeah,
the right path.
towards the positive path instead of
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The path to connection.
no.
Yay.
No longer going separate ways.
Yeah. How long
Mm-hmm.
have y'all been together now? I know it's been forever.
We've been married 10 years. 11 years this November. Together, like 15, 16 years, I think.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
met him like right out of high school, and so
Yeah, I remember.
we got a lot of history there. And but yeah, we're doing a little better now. We're just still working on our individual, but with the goal for a better connection between the both of
Mhm.
us.
So
Hmm.
Georgina, what would you say to brand new first baby Georgina, just came home with that first baby and you're
Oof.
freaking out? What would you say to her?
I would say that it's going to be okay. Um, everything, when it's really hard, the one thing that I would always tell myself is, this is not forever. It's just a season. And so, like, if I was really struggling with Jonah and I felt like, oh my God, am I ever going to be able to like go out with him, or like go to restaurants or do anything to where it's not so overstimulating for him? Like, I would kind of just be like, Georgina, it's just a season right now. This is just how life has to be with Jonah. Because again, we don't know what's going on. We don't know if there's something there. And so until we figure it out, this is just where I'm at. And, so I would tell him, like, it's not going to be forever. Yes, it's hard and it's only going to get harder, but eventually things calm down. You get into a routine and you start to feel like yourself again. You start to be able to do the things that you enjoy again. Like, for like almost a whole year, I rarely ever got to like put on makeup because I just didn't have the time. And then if like it did, by the time that I would get out of the house after hauling the diaper bag and the stroller, I'm like sweating it all off. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, there's no point to it.
Yeah.
And and I love makeup. I love playing around with it and just doing stuff like that. I've always been like a creative person. So to not have that for like almost a whole year, I was like, man, like I feel like what, like I don't
You
feel like
kind of lost
myself. Like,
yourself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
lost myself. I really
Yeah.
did.
I've
And
been there.
so, yeah. And it's like, I had to really like sit back and remind myself, Georgina, it's going to be okay. You're okay. Your baby is okay. He's healthy. He's here. He's happy. He's giggling. Yes, we have our moments, but my baby's okay. And it's hard right now in this moment, but it's not forever. It's not going to stay like this forever. As he gets older, things change. And I, set up new routines, or we try different things to see what works. And it's just, I would tell them, you're going to be okay. Just take it 1 second at a time, not even like 1 day at a time, because there is no 1 day at a time. It's literally like one like minute at a time, because
Minute
they
by
could be
minute.
so, yeah, because they could be chilling and happy and giggling. And then the next minute they are screaming their asses off like it's the end of the world. So it's
Yeah.
literally minute by minute.
Yeah.
And like even in those like really hard times when they're having those crazy tantrums, and I would feel so overwhelmed, and then like I would start crying because it's like, oh my God, like what do I do? This is like, I don't know how to handle this. It's like I would step out for like 2 minutes, go to the room, go to the restroom, just kind of decompress, be like, Regina, it's okay. It's not forever. It's just a moment right now that is happening. Let's help him figure out this big emotion and get to the next step. Like, let's try to de-escalate what is happening right now. And so I would just go back out, kind of do little jumping jacks before I went out, just to get it all out, that wiggle, get a little wiggles out, and then not attack, but like, well, no, yeah, like attack the problem, right? Like, okay, he is really losing it. What can we do to help him? And it's like, okay, Jonah, do you want to go outside? Let's get some fresh air. Or Jonah, let's go do this. Or like, just do different things to try to get him to calm down. And eventually that's basically what it was. It's just until he was able to really communicate, it was just kind of letting him go through those big emotions. And then once he calmed down, then it's like, okay, Jonah, I know you were frustrated, or I know I can't understand you, and you were trying to communicate with me, and I know it's hard. Like, just talk with him and kind of have a little like moment,
Yes.
and then it'd be like, all right, let me enjoy this 5 seconds of peace, because it's about to happen again.
Right.
I feel
We're
it
gonna do it
coming.
all over again.
We're about to do it all over again.
So what's your take? Okay, so with
God.
all, because man, Georgina, you have really, really done it all. It sounds like you're going through, taking all the routes that you got to take to raise good little people. What's your take on mom guilt? Do you have mom guilt?
Oh yeah. Oh girl, how can you not? Like, again, finally with therapy, I finally was able to accept that I it's okay to take care of me, because if mom is not okay, baby's not okay, right?
Mhm.
And so realizing that, and now taking time for myself, like, again, it's not often because I do a lot of single parenting most of the time. So whenever dad gets back home, that's when I can have these little moments of breaks. And so I'll kind of try to, take like half a day for myself and either go to like a spa or get a massage. And back then I would feel so guilty just doing that, because it's like, what am I doing? I should be at home with my baby. Like, why am I over here? Or what if like the house is a mess? It's like, no, I shouldn't be sitting and like just watching my show. I need to be
Right.
cleaning. I need to go do this. There's so much that I have to do. And now understanding it's okay. I need these breaks, because again, if I'm not okay, the babies aren't okay. And so I struggled a lot in the beginning, felt like I had to do everything always, and I had to stick to this routine and like kind of just control the whole situation. Partly because I felt so out of control mentally that I was trying to control a lot of like external things. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it worked until it couldn't work anymore.
Right.
And I had to realize I had to take a step back and really focus on myself and get myself better. And then at that point, everything else kind of just follows along. And so now if I see there's like dishes in the sink, but I want to like just catch like one episode of like my favorite like K-drama or something, I'll go and sit my ass down and be like, it's okay. The dishes are going to be there. They're going to keep coming back. They don't ever disappear. Oh my God, I hate dishes. And so, you know, it's like, I know you're looking at me, dishes, but I'm going to ignore you right now.
See you right now.
Yeah, I don't see you right now. I'm paying attention to this K-drama, and I'm just going to let myself fully enjoy that. And then once the episodes, I'm like, okay, I had an hour, I had 30 minutes. Let me go ahead and I'll do something. But I don't sit there like, oh, why did I do that? Or I didn't get anything done today. Now I just look at it. It's like, okay, what was I able to do today? And then like, I'll just kind of make a little chart. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm proud. I was able to do this, this, and this. And that's good. You know?
So you even created a coping mechanism for the mom guilt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, I really did.
That's awesome because it's something that we see so common with every mom we've talked to. You know, we've yet to have a mom that's like, I don't got that shit. You know,
right? Well, when we find that person, I need to know how
we're spending a day with that person. Like we're gonna spend a day in the life of that person.
And I would feel like that's just chaos in itself too, because like if you're just like BS to like I don't give a shit about nothing, it's like
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm scared.
You know, that's scary too.
I'm
afraid. Maybe it's the Capricorn in me, but I like a little bit of structure, you know. So I need structure.
I need to know a plan. What is the plan?
I need to know a plan, and I can go off of the plan a little bit, but it's got to eventually come back.
Right. We're not going crazy now.
We're not going crazy. Hell no.
Oh my God, that's funny. Oh, that's so funny. Well, Georgina, it's been so amazing talking to you today and catching up with you.
Man, I know we could have kept going. I'm a talker, so.
Oh yeah, we can go all day. We'll have to have you come back for part 2.
Hell yeah, man, I'm down.
Yay!
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, it was so fun to talk, Georgie. We're so proud of you.
This is a big step for me, like I said, to be vulnerable and to say things like so openly. It was a big step. I'm sure my therapist would be proud of me.
Yes. You should send her a text and let her know that you did it. To your episode.
Right?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for listening.
Y'all have a good weekend. Good Halloween. Good holidays, girl. The chaos is coming our way.
It's coming.
Shit, it's already here, actually.
It's here. You're right.
I've been nonstop. It's here.
It is. All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.